Welcome back, and thanks for being here. I'm Cassie, and this is A Wicked World. The story I have for you today is about a little girl whose life was violently ended by an absolute monster. A monster her mother likely would have never let around her had she known the truth. This is the story of Serenity Reedy. Serenity Jade Reedy was born on September 1st, 2012 in Richland, Washington, to Jennifer Reedy and James Reedy. Serenity was the light of her mother's life and a happy, bubbly, and talkative baby. She was always smiling and loved meeting new people. The little girl studied others and things at great length to remember every detail. She brought a smile and something special to each person she encountered. Serenity also had one sister and two brothers. Serenity's parents, James and Jennifer, had broken up not long after she was born, and her mother retained full custody. Soon, Jennifer met a man named Jose Aguilar. After they'd been dating for about 4 months, he would move into the home that Jennifer shared with her children, on Log Lane, Richland, in April of 2013. On the evening of June 6, 2013, Jennifer would leave little Serenity in Jose's care while she went out to do some laundry, then grab some things from Walmart. This wasn't the first time the mother had done so, and she had no concerns. When she returned back home later that evening, around 9 p.m., everything seemed fine. Jose would end up asking Jennifer if she wanted to have sex, but after she told him no, he said that he would go take care of himself, then went to the bathroom, returning back about 30 minutes later. Not much later, the couple would fall asleep. Then Jennifer would wake up around 3 a.m. to notice that Jose was not in bed next to her. But she wasn't concerned, so she just rolled over and went back to sleep. The following morning, when the mother went to check on little Serenity in her crib, she realized that she was purple, cold, and not breathing. She immediately called 911, and as Jennifer was awaiting emergency services to arrive, she noticed that Jose was gone. Along with him, her car and some cash that she kept in the house was also missing. After being rushed to a nearby hospital, baby Serenity would be pronounced dead. A forensic pathologist would later discover that the baby had died of blunt trauma to the head. She also had 2 separate skull fractures. One of these fractures reportedly was similar in size to the open end of a beer bottle that was also recovered from the home. Investigators additionally found blood in Serenity's diaper and discovered that the child had suffered severe trauma to her vagina. Her death was very clearly a homicide. In an attempt to locate Jose, police called his cell phone, and he would answer, telling them that he had indeed taken care of Serenity for a few hours the night prior. He told them that he'd been lying on the living room floor with the baby. Then he put her on the couch and left the room. It was only for a moment, though, when suddenly he heard a thud. When he went back into the room, he noticed that Serenity had fallen onto the floor. According to him, though, he looked her over and she had no bruises. But based on what the autopsy had found, there was no way that Serenity had obtained the injuries that she had from simply falling off the couch. Jose would also at first end up admitting that he had SA'd baby Serenity. But this account would later change, and he would say that he had done nothing of the sort that night. Jose would tell police that he was now in Oregon, but then he agreed to come back. But not trusting him, police obtained a search warrant to track his cell phone, and they would end up finding him at a Greyhound bus station in Barstow, California, which is where they would end up arresting him. They believed that he was actually headed to Mexico prior to his apprehension. Jose Aguilar was charged with first-degree manslaughter in relation to Serenity's horrific murder, and he was then held at the West Valley Detention Center in Rancho Cucamonga, California. Though these charges would later be upgraded to second-degree murder and rape of a child. It would end up being discovered that Jose already had a criminal record when he began dating Serenity's mother, Jennifer. In fact, he was a convicted sex offender. And while the mother had done a background check on him, the fact that he was an offender never showed up. This was because Jose was supposedly a level 1 offender and therefore deemed to be not as dangerous. He had on his record a crime involving indecent liberties to a victim who was incapable of consent in 1998, and a second-degree assault, as well as 2 failures to register as a sex offender. When it came time for Jose to face his punishment, he would plead guilty to his charges of second-degree murder, and he would take an Alfred plea on his charge of first-degree rape of a child. He was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 40 years before he's possibly eligible for parole. Jose would end up owning up to his actions and saying that he carried the burden for what had happened to little Serenity, as he should. In a statement he made before the court, he said, "I don't know why I didn't do things right. Every day I feel sorrow for Serenity and her family. My heart aches." But even though he accepted responsibility for killing Serenity, Jose would still lie about how her death had occurred. He confessed that he was very intoxicated on the night that he had killed the little girl. According to him, he had been dancing and going in circles while he was holding her in his arms. But this caused Serenity to begin vomiting, and he got scared, so he threw her up in the air. She then hit the wall and the floor. According to him, he thought that she would be okay, but the next day realized she wasn't. Jose still insisted that he did not SA her, though. Jose continued on by saying that he had left the home still drunk, and while he didn't know about Serenity's injuries, he had the worst feeling in his gut. A medical expert would say that what they believed had actually happened was that Jose had SA'd Serenity. And when she began crying, he panicked, worrying that he'd be found out. So he had taken the little girl and thrown her up against a wall, possibly twice. Serenity's grandmother, Kathy Inglis, held a picture of the little girl during the hearing and said, "I will look at it every day, and she smiles at me and tries to make it better, but I will never have her back. I don't think Jose should be out in society ever again." James Reedy, Serenity's father, told the court that Jose had no respect for family or life. He continued by saying, "I've been through pain and trauma that nothing could have prepared me for, and us for this." He continued by saying, "I've been through pain and trauma that nothing could have prepared me and us for this." Serenity was the most precious of gifts that life has to offer. Serenity Reedy's funeral was held on October 1st, 2013, at Christ the King Church. She was then buried at Sunset Memorial Gardens in Richland, Washington. Well, thank you for listening to Serenity's story today. If Serenity's mother really did check Jose's background and nothing showed up, that is absolutely horrifying. He was still a sex offender, but just because the law deemed him to be less dangerous, everyone else was kept in the dark. And as a result of this apparent loophole for offenders, poor 9-month-old little Serenity sadly lost her life. So if you like true crime and you want to hear it from me, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button below and turn on those notifications too, so you'll know when I upload a new video, which is at least 3 times every single week, usually more. Thanks for watching A Wicked World today. Until next time, take care guys. Bye. Thank you to all the patrons of A Wicked World. Now, there's even more of A Wicked World on Patreon. So check it out at patreon.com/awickedworld or use the Patreon app. You'll have access to exclusive videos each month and more. Any support truly helps to make sure the victims never get forgotten and to highlight the shortcomings of society associated with each case. Do you have a suggestion for a case you'd like to see me cover? If so, send me an email at awickedworldtruecrime@gmail.com.